This meeting is being recorded.
Again, thank you all so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us for this next hour and 45 minutes. We actually do have a very full agenda, so we are going to keep the agenda moving. Again, welcome. We will now have Angie will go over our Zoom in-house rules.
Alrighty, thank you everyone for joining us today. Just a quick synopsis or overview of the rules that we go over every week. Just want to let you know that if you could raise your hands by going to your keyboard if you're online, so that let me move this out of the way here so I can see. And we will call on you when you raise your hands or you place a message in the comments section. We ask that you keep your comments brief, focus, and eliminate any background noise. We ask that you keep your questions, comments to 30 seconds, limit your response to one question. Additional questions should be placed in the chat. Additional questions will be responded to if time allows. Please remain muted unless you are speaking. This will help to eliminate the distraction of background noises. No shouting or inappropriate language, and please refrain from being rude or disrespectful. And please follow all the above. We want to avoid having to mute anyone or respectfully removing you from the meeting.
Okay, thank you so much. And I want to say happy Black History Month to everybody on the call. Is Reverend Paul on the line?
Yes, good evening, everyone. President Rogers.
Okay. Yeah, Reverend Paul will give us an invocation.
Just thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. Before I go into the invocation, just want to allow, if you can allow me, just maybe 1 minute, just make a comment or observation. Notice that the executive board of LRCA during the past year and a half, almost, in my view, and speaking on behalf of this board and the President Rogers, in my view, has been probably one of the best boards I've ever served on in regards to the discipline, the mannerism, the way that we communicate with each other, the way that we respect each other, and most of all, the way and the manner how we not always agree on items, but there's a difference between being agreeable and disagreeable. And I say all this to say because I understand there's a lot of chattering out in our community. And for those of us who are mature enough and have an understanding in terms of what this world is all about, there's a lot that goes on in this world. But we don't want to get caught up so much in the chattering as much as in terms of the reality of life. And that is that every day, as we always say, is a day of Thanksgiving. And we should make the best of our day. And so I want to speak on behalf of President Rogers and the entire executive board to say that there's no issues, absolutely no issues going on with our board. On our board meetings, while we may have some minor disagreements, all of us are on the same page at the end of the meeting. And so just want to make sure we put out there that there's nothing going on with this board that would cause any type of divisiveness, any type of envy or jealousy or any of that manner. But I can tell you, my brothers, my sisters out in this community, that President Rogers and the entire executive board are on one page, no question about it. And we run on one page, I wouldn't be making this comment, but I want to make sure that we don't get caught up in all the chattering, because we waste so much energy getting caught up in the chattering, and it takes away from the reality in terms of where we're living it right here in this community. And that is, there's a lot that we need to pray for and work with each other on so that we can make sure that we make our lives better for each other. So I just want to bring it out there just to make sure that if you're hearing something contrary to what I'm saying right now, then you can just look at that person and just keep on, let it go over your head, because there's nothing absolutely going on with this board. And we have a great response from the community. And I just want to thank the community for your responsiveness on these meetings. One thing about having meetings particularly when you're dealing with multiple personalities, that you have to deal with all types of issues and matters, and you have to be ready to respond. But I have to admit to you, my brothers and my sisters in this community, your respect for the leadership on this committee, this LRCA team, has been extraordinary. It's been extraordinary. The meetings are held in decency and order, because we know what happens when things are not done in decency and order. And so I just want to commend you, those who have been on these calls every single month, those who've been active in the community, that we thank you for respecting the leadership in this board. I'm on my way to Africa for 2 months for the first time in my life. And so I just want to get those words out before I leave. So if I have to swim across the waters, it may take a long while to get back to the next meeting. So that's going to the invitation. God, we thank you so much, God, for how you blessed us and how you kept us from all harm and danger, in spite of what goes on around us. We know that when we're trying to do the right thing, there's always going to be trouble. And so, but we know we can press through the trouble. We can press through the hardships. We can press through the challenges, because at the end of the day, it's all about making sure that we're on one accord for the same purpose, and that is to make our community the best we can. We're not perfect. We don't know all the answers, and we can't respond to other answers, but we know that we're doing our best efforts to meet the needs of this community. So keep us, and we shall be kept. Bless each and every neighbor in our community. Bless their families. Bless those families who are in the midst of their bereavement. But we all know that we have to have hope and trust and faith in ourselves and in our community. So this is our thoughts. This is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you so much, Reverend Paul. And I thank you for those words. We may have, I was out doing the newsletter today and met a couple of residents I didn't know and gave them a newsletter. Hopefully they're on the call, but just want to welcome. I used to do that before when I was the president, and I want to do it today to just welcome new residents, welcome long-standing residents, welcome all residents. So we're going to move through this agenda because, as I said, we have a real full agenda. I do want to say, as I always say, that LRCA, we are here to be of service to this community. If you have a legitimate community concern, you can always send us an email at ask@lrcadc.org. You can also give us a call on 202-838-6058. And I do want to share a concern that we got from a neighbor that followed the procedure and sent it to the ask@lrcadc. But it was a neighbor who, as we all are, we are very concerned about some of the crime that is not only occurring in our community, but all over the city. So we were able to prepare a response to her in ways that she was concerned about. I think there was an incident with her automobile. So we provided her with the watch commander's number. We also shared with her, there are Sector 2 MPD meetings that are held every month. And my apologies, we are going to put that in the newsletter going forward. I have attended those meetings. They didn't have one, I think, last month because of the incidents that happened in Ward 4. So that meeting was canceled. But it is a good meeting. The commander is on there, officers are on there, and you can ask your community, your public safety questions directly to the officers and to the commander. So I would encourage us, they don't have a lot of participation on these meetings, but I would encourage all of us to start to attend those meetings. You may see that Officers, they don't have the bandwidth to continue to come to all of the community meetings every week. We did send emails to Commander Harrod, to Officer Hamrick, if they could get on our meetings for a few minutes. However, they were unable to get on our meetings. But I just wanted to share that whenever we get a concern, I do try to share these legitimate concerns. This particular resident actually had a good suggestion or wanted to know how could we, as good neighbors, support each other more. So we're thinking about some of the things that we might could do to kind of bring again our neighborhoods together, and again just be good neighbors. So just wanted to share that. We're going to move on with the agenda. We go with our officer reports. The minutes, as you all know, are printed in the newsletter. They're also on our website. We did drop off newsletters to the Lamond-Riggs Center and the Riggs LaSalle Rec Center. So we're going to do the minutes. Then we're going to move on to the treasurer's report. Our treasurer, Audrey Mullen, unfortunately has a personal emergency, and Tisha Cockra, the financial secretary, will actually give the treasurer's report. And in the past, we've always approved the treasurer's report, and we will no longer do that because according to Robert's rules, we don't have to do that. So we won't be approving the treasurer's report, but we will approve the minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes, the December 22nd minutes? I mean, not 22nd, December 5th, 2022 minutes that we printed in the February 2023 newsletter. As you all know, we did not have a January meeting. So can I get a motion to approve the December 2022 minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, so we've got a motion. It's been second. Angie, can you unmute everybody, please? All in favor of approving the December 2022 minutes, say aye.
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 Any nays? Any abstentions? So the motion passes. Now we're going to have Tisha Cockra, our financial secretary, to give the treasurer's report. Tisha?
Hello, everyone. Hi, Happy New Year. The treasurer's report is as follows. Our beginning balance was $8,048.53, with deposits of membership dues being $497.83. The ANC grant we received at $3,000 for a total deposits of $3,497.83. We have expenses. Father's Day event was $303.33. Newsletters were $412.50. I guess this is I don't know what there's a innovative, I guess maybe the website deposit or expense of $2,500 from the ANC grant. Our Zoom monthly expense of $15.89. PayPal $3.18. There was Staples, I guess that was copies, $38, or it looks like $36.81. Walmart purchase of $222.15 for our holiday event, hand dance event, and Giant of looks like $58.29 for total expenses of $3,552.15. So our ending balance is $7,994.21. That is the end of the treasurer's report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Tisha Cockrell. Okay, so we're gonna continue to move the agenda. Someone needs to be muted.
Yes, I'm gonna mute everyone. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, now we're going to move to our elected officials. I am actually going to go in the order of, do we have Sophia? No, we're going to do commissioners. I think we have Jim on here from from Council Member Louis George's office. Jim, are you on here?
I am here.
Okay.
How's everyone
Floor is
doing?
yours.
Thank you, President Rogers. My name is Jim Lewis. I do constituent services for Council Member Louis George. I am also a Riggs Park resident. I live right off Riggs Road, so happy to be here and to share some quick updates from the council office. A few things. Last week, the council member shared her support for proposed changes to parking and bus bays at the Tacoma Metro Station. These changes are part of a new housing program that would replace an underutilized surface parking lot with more than 400 units of new transit-friendly housing, including deeply affordable and family-sized apartments. At a time when our community and the entire DC region are facing a housing affordability crisis that is driving widespread displacement, these new housing units are really needed. Our office is also hearing from several Ward 4 residents who submitted their DC Medicaid renewal applications only to find out that their application was never received. If you need help with your renewal or are experiencing difficulties with your insurance, please contact our team, the constituent service team. I will share my contact information in the chat at the end of this. In recent weeks, DC has been experiencing serious OSSE bus issues that are disrupting families' school routes and primarily affecting students with disabilities. We have been in contact with OSSE about the urgent need to resolve these issues and improve communication with families. This is a hot topic. DPW has now completed both rounds of leaf collection in Ward 4. If your block still has leaves that need to be collected, please ensure that they are raked into the tree box or curb and call 311 to request collection. DPW is also continuing to collect holiday trees and greenery left in front of residents' homes. If they're not collected within 5 days, neighbors can call 311 to report the tree. If 311 doesn't work or do the trick, please contact our constituent services team, again, me, and Escadar. We will work with DPW to ensure that leaves or holiday trees on your block are collected. We are now scheduling we do now have our schedule for performance oversight and budget oversight hearings for each agency. We need ANC commissioners and community members and people from different community organizations to testify about the issues that are impacting our neighbors, including important matters such as staffing cuts at our rec centers, public safety issues, and problems with government services. Find the full performance oversight schedule, budget oversight schedule, and instructions for how to sign up for each of our hearings at the link I will be sharing in the chat. We'll be happy to help you and answer any questions or concerns. If you haven't already, please sign up for our weekly Ward 4 newsletter to receive all of our updates, and I will share that in the chat right now. And a lot of these updates and more, and the schedule for the full oversight hearing will be in our newsletter every Friday. We also have a senior newsletter that I will be happy to distribute if you reach out to our team. It's a physical newsletter if you want us to mail it to your home. And that's it.
Thank you so much, Jim. Do we have any questions for Jim? Okay.
Have a great night, everyone.
All right. Thank you so much, Jim. I am happy to introduce the next person. Most of you all know we have a new council member for Ward 5, Council Member Zachary Parker. We were happy to get an update from Ward 5. Some of the Ward 5 residents were happy to see that there was something in the newsletter from their council member. Councilmember Parker is actually doing a budget hearing today, so he could not be here. Hopefully next month, he will be able to come on and introduce himself to everybody. But from his office, we do have Carlos McKnight. He is the Constituent Service Coordinator. Carlos, are you on?
Yes, I am here.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. So first, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Carlos McKnight. I am a lifelong Ward 5 resident, and that also includes being a lifelong resident of the Great Riggs Park neighborhood. I've lived on the 5300 block of Chilham Place my entire life. So this neighborhood is home. And so I'm excited to be here with a bunch of my neighbors, people who I might have seen in the community, people who I might not have met in the community. So I'm excited to be here with all of you and working to support beautifying and supporting our neighborhood. There's not too many updates that I will be providing tonight from the council member. Much of what Jim said from Councilwoman Lewis George's office is very similar to what we have in updates, so I won't repeat any redundant information. So mostly tonight I want to share with folks our newsletter. We publish our newsletter weekly. It is where we post information about things going on in the community, the Ward 5 team out in the community, any updates from agencies, or any information that we feel that the residents of our ward deserve to know. The council member is also willing to do office hours. He has an office hour schedule that he does every Wednesday, and I will share that information in the chat as well. For the month of February, however, due to oversight and budget hearings, his time is very limited. However, it will resume back to normal in March once things start to calm down. Lastly, if you are interested in sharing with the council member your thoughts for the oversight hearings, we have a link to a Google form that will collect comments about priorities in Ward 5 that you are interested in seeing included into the budget process and the budget conversation. And then we also have a link to the oversight hearing schedule that I will provide if anyone is interested in seeing the full list of oversight of the committees and the government agencies. Other than that, again, I am excited to be here and working with folks in my community. And so thank you all for welcoming me into this space.
Thank you so much, Carlos. And again, welcome, welcome. And we look forward to hearing from you. Any questions for Carlos McKnight from Councilmember Zachary Parker's office?
My hand is up, Barbara.
Rodney, we'll acknowledge your hand. Please do not unmute yourself and just start speaking.
Okay.
What is your question?
So my question is for Carlos, and thank you for joining us. I know that Councilmember Parker is new, but is your office aware of some of the dire public safety issues that we have? For example, the Kennedy Street line that kind of divides Ward 4 from Ward 5, close to Oglethorpe, close to 12 H Street has long been a hotbed of issues. And I noticed that the gentleman from Councilwoman Denise Lewis George office didn't say anything about public safety issues, particularly around the rec center. So I just wanted to get your sense if you guys are aware of the ongoing public safety issues that we have in this community.
Yes, so I was in attendance early in January at the safety town hall at LaSalle. And so I definitely relate to the council member the concerns, especially with the hotbeds of crew related incidents in the neighborhood. And so it is on our radar, and I've been in conversations, especially with the councilwoman's office, about how we can address this concern in the community.
Thank you very much. Any resources that we can get to make this community safer is a godsend. And you probably heard this yourself, but several of our seniors are really scared to go outside at night, given the level of crime in this community. So it's not anything to be ignored. And I look forward to working with the council member's office, both from Ward 4 and Ward 5, to make this a safer community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carlos. Thank you, Rodney. Again, let's address public safety. There were two public safety meetings, and Rodney, I think you attended one of those meetings. And again, what I would encourage people to do is to get on these sector meetings. And you can address this directly to MPD. These meetings have been going on for years. So get on these meetings and you can direct your public safety concerns directly. LRCA worked to get those public safety meetings actually put together in a very short period of time. LaRoya Huff was part of that. And so, yeah, we're all concerned. Nobody wants crime in their neighborhood. And we all just have to work together to, make our community safe. LaRoya, I see your hand is up.
Yes,
Wait,
thank
any
you.
more? Wait a minute,
I'm sorry.
LaRoya, before you start, is this a question for Carlos McKnight? Because if not, I want to let him go. Is your question for Carlos?
Me?
Yeah, I see your
No,
hand is up.
yes, I just
Okay.
wanted to piggyback about the public safety, and I'm gonna do thank you, President Rogers, for the acknowledgement of how fast we work together to call a meeting.
Yes.
And then a second meeting for the breakout, and there'll be continual meetings. I've been in conversation with Commander Harrod, and so while he wasn't able to stay for the first meeting because of a shooting that occurred in our ward at Georgia and I want to say Rittenhouse, there will be another meeting. I'm going to propose a date. There are also residents that are interested. I, as a ANC commissioner, attended the ANC meeting with the mayor, and her question to the community and advisory neighborhood commissioners is what we could bring. And so we're talking education, we're talking programs. We have residents in our community. We used to have a time when we had boxing. One of the commissioners mentioned boxing. I'm a product of the DC Youth Games. In fact, I'm getting ready to join the senior track and field team. So there are things that we can do besides
Definitely.
nitpicking. And so I think as we work together, come to the table with ideas about how to improve instead of tearing each other down, I think we have a good gauge of moving forward because nobody wants to be antagonized, and that kind of thing. We all want a safe community. There was a sounds of gunfire on Chilling Place, and someone reached out. And I've been on vacation. I'm coming back now from my vacation, so I'm still on the highway. But there was sounds of gunfire that ended up with gun casings on Chilling and Kennedy Street. So I think that, I'm glad that Carlos is on board. Barbara, I'm glad that you're with the council office because we all have to work together to come up with a solution. We've got residents that want to put in some good, hard work. My day job is with the mayor's office on returning citizens. So we have the means to help. But we have to work together. So I thank you, Reverend Paul, for that prayer. And I hope that we're all praying for the same thing because we all are affected
Right.
by what's happening. So thank you again, President Rogers.
All right. Thank you so much, LaRoya, for that. And I will announce to the public here, I joined Council Member Janice Lewis George's office. This is actually my 4th week there at her office. I am her new community engagement director there. So the good thing is that I will still get to work in this community. And I am always just a phone call away. So I wanted to share that information. I left my accounting career of 27 years to take this job again for the reasons of being able to continue to serve this community. So wanted to share that, but we're going to keep the agenda moving. I do have to just kind of go out of order. We have Mr. John Stokes, which is from the DC Department of General Services. He has another engagement, so I am going to ask him if he could provide his update. That would be great. Mr. Stokes?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, President Rogers, for inviting me to the Lamont-Riggs Civic Associate meeting this evening. Again, I'm John Stokes, and I'm the Associate Director of External Affairs for the Department of General Services. I've been with, I was with DPR, Department of Parks and Recreation for 15 years, and now I'm with the Department of General Services, where I've been for the last 3 years. I am happy to report, I hear about public safety this evening and what DGS has done in the last month or so regarding public safety was we have there's a couple of things that we've done. Most notably, there are 16 lights around the perimeter of Riggs LaSalle Recreation Center. There are 16. 7 of those 16 lights were out. We not only fixed those 7 lights that were out, but we also relamped all 16 lights from the outside of perimeter. So all lights on the exterior of the recreation center are now, all 16 lamps are working. You will notice that around the field, there might be some lamps out, some lights out around the field. We are looking to have next week, February, somewhere around February 15th or thereabouts, we're 8 field lights, the poles and the 71 fixtures will be serviced. So that's going to be happening next week. Also, cameras. We have fixed all the cameras that are around the exterior, and we're going to add 9 more lamps that are going to be added around the perimeter of Lamont-Riggs Recreation Center. So those are just some of the safety fixes that we have done in the last actually 30 days at Riggs LaSalle Recreation Center. We are also, for those you don't know, so we have what's known as the work order process, and work orders can be submitted by our client agencies, whether it's a school, whether it's a recreation center, and each of these facilities has either a facilities manager or a manager who can go in and actually submit a work order. Those work orders come to DGS. If it's an emergency situation, life safety, those are just really going to be done, as quickly as possible. They rise to the top. The rest we are reviewing, but have maybe 45 to 60 day turnaround to review those work orders. And then we actually cure work orders as they come in with the assistance of our client agency. So they actually tell us, they help us guide us to what is a priority. And we will go about fixing those things, barring any unforeseen weather or resources that are not available. So those are just, I want to keep it quick. I want to keep it sharp, keep it quick, but those are my quick updates. And I'd be happy to, President, questions.
Okay, do we have any questions for Mr. Stokes? Again, DGS did a great job in coming out after the shooting there at the rec and got us all updated. Cameras are working. There's always going to be things that need to be repaired. I am happy that we can reach out directly to Mr. Stokes to get things done. Do we have any questions for Mr. Stokes before he has to hop off the meeting?
I think there's a question in the chat, President Rogers.
Okay, can you read it, Tish?
I think it comes from LaRoya. Thank you for your quick response. Residents question how many cameras were out when the last shooting occurred. Were they working when the murder occurred? What is your maintenance plan? How often will they be checked?
So let's see. I don't have the number of actual cameras that were out. Don't have that information. Again, I have the number of lights that were out. It was 7 out of the 16, but they've all been repaired. And so maintenance, we actually look at them on at least a yearly basis. But what happens is that, again, at every facility, folks can actually go, and if they see something that's wrong in their facility, they can put in a work order. And once those work orders are received by DGS, then we'll go about, again, taking care of that particular situation.
Okay, John, so it's LaRoya Huff. So
LaRoya.
I guess my question or concern is, we had this occur with the Metropolitan Police cameras in the alley that that I share with residents. And so we didn't know that they did not work. And so did not know until an incident occurred. And then when they went up to the box, it didn't work. Then they had to go to out of state to get parts to get it to work. So I guess my question is, what's just to check it, the periodic checks and balances to make sure they work? Because me as a layperson, I wouldn't know whether they work or not. I'm assuming that they work because it says, hey, we've got this camera here, right? And you're letting us know that there are cameras. We would not know if they function or not function. So I guess my question, and I'm not being picky, I'm just trying to, be preventive. What's the schedule to check? I heard you say yearly. Show the likelihood of something like a bulb going out that you don't, how would we know, I guess?
Well,
And
I'll have to get back to you, Leroy, because I believe that last meeting, I think MPD said that some of those lights, they have jurisdiction over. Some of those cameras, I believe. I think that they have jurisdiction over. So I think that's what they said. I'd have to check. I'd have to check what kind of work.
I want both of them checked. I want the Rex checked and the police cameras. The cameras, like the resident that spoke said, her camera works, right? And then she's the first call to go to the homes. Like residents don't mind sharing their cameras, but we are also relying on your cameras, not the Rex and the MPD cameras to work.
Right.
So I guess that's
right.
more the question. So if we could work together with that, I think residents would feel safer. They'll be more willing to turn over their cameras because we're not the only cameras. You've got a whole building, you've got a whole school, and you've got the MPD cameras, and you've got the resident cameras. So
right. So
yeah.
I will double check on that, especially, I saw somebody put in the chat that he said, I think he said a couple of weeks ago, 2 of the cameras were not working. So again, we will double check that.
Appreciate it.
Okay, and Ms. Settles will be on again, and she can address something that happened 2 weeks ago. So any other questions for Mr. Stokes?
President
Tish?
Rogers, my hand's up.
Yeah.
Mr. Stokes, thank you for coming this evening. To Leroy's point, how quickly can you get back with us, or will you double back to us with the questions or the answers to those questions of how often you will be checking those cameras?
Oh, I will get the answers within, I'll get them back and I'll make sure I send them to the president.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Tish, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Too blessed to be stressed.
Likewise.
I'd like to be included on that get back, please, as the chair.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so if no other questions for Mr. Stokes, we're going to let him go. He has another appointment. Thank you so much, Mr. Stokes, for taking the time to come and give us a report and take a few questions. Okay.
My pleasure.
All right, bye-bye. All right, we are going to move to our elected officials. We have, as you all know, we have many new ANC commissioners. We're excited to work with them. So let's start with Allison Brooks, who is the chair of 4B. Allison, are you on?
I am on. Good evening.
Okay. How are
How you
you?
doing? Guess I need to change my view so you guys don't see all the junk behind me. How about that? So thank you. And I am going to continue, I guess, with the theme of public safety. In the next ANC meeting, which is scheduled for the 4th Monday in February, we will hear from Linda Harley Harper, who is responsible for the Building Blocks program and is working to reduce gun violence in the community. It's a good time to come out and maybe ask some specific questions about programming and how it will impact, the Riggs Park neighborhoods. If you're unable to make it, of course, we will be asking those questions, but I mean, it's always great for residents to be able to speak directly with government. I encourage everyone to continue to participate and don't just rely on representation by us or by city council, you know, there's power in numbers. When city council members and government officials hear repeatedly about the same issues in a particular community, it focuses their attention, right? And so, in other words, the squeaky wheel gets the grease in some cases. And so it is always helpful to have the support of the residents that have put us in the position to advocate for them. So I invite you out to the meeting for that reason, and look forward to seeing everyone on the call. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner. Any questions for Commissioner Brooks? Thank you so much, Commissioner. We're going to move on down the line. Do we have Commissioner Michael Cohen on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Commissioner. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you, President Rogers. How are you doing?
I am wonderful. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for having me. And it looks like everyone can see me. I hope my internet stays working. Just wanted to give a few quick up. I've been holding office hours, Recreation Center, every Wednesday at noon. So I'm up there talking to neighbors who live in the area, up there from noon till 1. And then after that, I'm available from 1 until 2 for virtual office hours. So I'm hearing from folks via phone and Zoom. I've been putting in a number of constituent requests, including traffic safety inputs, DPW sweep requests, everything, a lot of DPW requests, and I have a new 4bo7.com, have a number of links and resources on there for things like notices, as far as DDOT notices, for example, as well as some resources for seniors and resources for public safety and getting engaged in the community. So thank you for having me. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions for Commissioner Cohen? All right, thank you so much, Commissioner. Commissioner Audrey Walker, again, will not be on the meeting tonight. She had a personal emergency, so she will not be on the meeting. Commissioner Huff?
Hi, everyone. So yes, it's LaRoya Huff, ANC 4B10. So I'm looking forward to working with that community. I've heard from many people. I want to also thank Allison Brooks and Cohen. Thank you for reaching out to me. My first meeting will be February the 18th. It's Saturday from 10 till noon. Most meetings will not be that long, but because there are some people I have not met, I will have a little longer time to meet, and Pepco will be at my meeting. So we're going to be covering some light spots. I know that DDOT's a concern with traffic in the corridor, DPW, public safety as it relates to the school. And so I'm looking forward to working and partnering with you all and doing some great stuff. My phone number I left in the chat, but it's 202-704-2427. Oh, the other big one that we'll work on is the Office on Buildings at the retirement home or the senior home that's still vacant and blighted. So we have our work cut out for us, but we will work with George's office, and she chairs the committee, and Mendelson. And so we'll get to do some really good work. Thank you. Do I have any questions?
Any questions for Commissioner LaRoya Huff? Thank you so much, LaRoya, for all you do.
Thank
All
you.
right, we're moving on. Do we have Commissioner, someone put something in the chat, Carlos Cozart? Is Commissioner Cozart still on? Maybe he had to leave. He is the commissioner for 5809, and he did put his information in the chat. He may be going over to the Ward 5 budget hearing, which we totally understand. Next, do we have Commissioner Malone? Commissioner Malone?
It does not appear so.
Okay. So Commissioner Malone, I will put his information in the chat. He is the commissioner for 5A01. And we've saved the best for last, Commissioner Amerman, Zachary Amerman.
Hi there. So just really briefly, I have a couple points I'd like to go through. So the one thing I wanted to talk about is a pretty important issue that's been going on for the past 30 years, actually, is the toxic waste issue in Fort Circle Park in my district, which is just near the metro. For those of you that aren't aware, there's been a long-standing reason to think that there might be toxic waste, including some pretty nasty things in the soil there. I've had a couple of meetings with Congresswoman Norton, and she's agreed to send a letter to the National Park Service asking them to do a more extensive test of the entire park. And so while that's certainly not the end of the story, it is a small victory. So I'm hoping we can get that testing actually done. And so I'm looking forward to holding the National Park Service accountable to try to get that testing to actually be done. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. And for those of you that aren't aware, I've laid out in detail the entire history of the toxic waste story in that park on my website, which is anc5a09.com, and I'll put it in the chat when I'm done. And then I also wanted to hit on something that I'm sure will be something that you guys will like to hear, that I've introduced a resolution to reaffirm ANC 5A's support for developing the park at the corner of South Dakota and Riggs Avenue, which I know you guys have been working on for a very long time. And we've passed resolutions in the past, just simply reaffirming that we're still in support of it. And then last 2 points I just want to briefly mention is I spent a lot of time putting together 5 or 6, actually I think there's 8 total different data trackers on my website, covering all sorts of different things, from crime to the ANC 5A budget, to the story of the Fort Circle Park toxic waste, which I alluded to a minute ago, crash data on all the different roads in our area. So please check out my website. I put a lot of time into that. So please take a look at that. I also put together a map with crash data. I'm talking about traffic safety when I mention crashes, traffic safety data for roads throughout all of Ward 5. That includes, of course, this area. And then last but not least, I just wanted to put it out there that I have online office hours every Tuesday and Thursday from noon to 7 p.m. Anyone at any time can reserve time you don't even have to contact me. You just go directly on my website and reserve a time to talk with me. And you can do that up to 2 weeks in advance. And again, that's on my website, and I will put that in the chat. And I'd be happy to answer any questions anyone has.
Any questions for Commissioner Aberman?
There's raised hands and there's questions in the chat, President Rogers.
Okay, I see Mr. Robert Oliver's hand is up.
Yes, Mr. Amerman, thanks a lot for the jobs you're doing. I greatly appreciate it. And as you know, I'm somewhat familiar with that particular problem. My question to you is, and I raised this with Council Member Norton, the culprit here is Metro, or I should say WMATA. Is there any thought to somewhere down the line raising this issue with them and having them held accountable, at least admit that they had some hand in this?
Oh yeah, they're the ones that brought it. Yeah, I fully intend on trying to pressure them as much as possible. Right now, I'm trying to go through National Park Service, and I plan on going through WMATA as well, and every angle of attack I possibly can to try to get some results for this. But I have, in the meantime, I have sent several public records requests, and those are all on my website as well, including to WMATA, the National Park Service, and I'm forgetting one other agency. I'm forgetting. Dang it. Anyway, I've sent several, and those are on the website. But I also, yes, that is a long-term plan to push back on them as well.
Well, thank you for the good job that you're doing.
Thank you.
Okay, Any other questions?
There's a question
For
in the chat. Miss Ruth Boyd wanted to know from the recent commissioner that just spoke, sorry, forgot your name. When and where are the safety meetings being held?
Is that for me or is that for?
Commissioner Amerman.
I'm not aware of any safety
Oh,
meetings.
she may, yeah, this person may be talking about the meeting that LaRoya is going to put together. So LaRoya Huff is going to put together the next public safety meeting. Hopefully, Ms. Ruth Boyd, you attended the 2 that we had last month. We will post that on the listserv and let you know the date and time. Thank you. Any
Yes,
other
Bob,
questions?
President Rogers, I still need your support as always. So he
Sure.
just said proposed 2 dates, so it's not just me, because we are a community that works together. Even if we move fast, like we did before, we were able to work together. So I just want to put that out there. So thank you.
Okay, great, great, great. Thank you.
It will be
Any
in
other
February.
questions? Rodney, do you have a question for Commissioner Amerman? Okay, thank you, Commissioner Amerman,
Thank you.
for joining us. We really appreciate you in your help to LRCA being supportive as well. Okay, thank you. We are now going to, is Miss Settles on? Tish, do you see Miss Settles?
I am on.
Oh, hi, Miss Settles.
Hi, how are you?
All right. For those of you all who don't know, Miss Settles is the Riggs LaSalle, what's your title? Site manager.
Area manager.
Area manager. And so she's going to give us an update on the rec center. Go ahead.
Well, our classes and programs are continuing. We will start new registrations starting March, near the end of March for our spring programming. We are looking for T-ball players. We do have some from our 6 and under basketball teams. At the time, Riggs LaSalle has about 5 basketball teams. And I'm just overwhelmed and pleased with our senior fitness classes. They're full. So we thank you for that. We hope that you continue, and we're building I think Commissioner Huff was interested in our more of a fast-paced impact exercise program that we have for our adults who may be able to exercise after their working hours. So we still have the strength and conditioning, and that is filling up. So during the spring, when the registration opens up, I will certainly send that out so that you can get involved. We will be, and I know I don't want to wait too late, but our summer camp registration will start in April, like April 4th. I just want to give you a heads up. They fill up in a minute. So I just want you to kind of jump on that as soon as you can, and you register online. Are there any questions?
Any questions for Miss Settles? There was a question. Well, okay. Any questions for Miss Settles?
Hey, so Settles, I got a question. This is Huff. So some residents were looking at boxing, and I'm actually actively working with some folks to identify a space. I know that Emory has one, I've been told. However, we don't want to mix the two based on the undertone, but Riggs isn't large enough. But what's your thought about having some form of a boxing program? Because you wouldn't have a ring in there, right?
Yeah, and that we tried that before, and that has been the discouragement for most people. There isn't a ring. And so the boxing for, I guess, Ward 4 would be Emory.
Yeah, but with the undertone, we can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because we have the
so,
space. We would encourage them to participate up at Emory if they're interested in boxing.
so the one thing about that is the public safety piece. So we were kind of looking to not mix the two for now,
Yeah,
so it gets
I got it.
confused. Thanks.
I understand. Yeah.
We have a question from Lydia Martin.
Okay, am I muted? Okay, I'm unmuted. Yeah, I wanted to know about the exercise equipment at the rec center. I used to go there years ago and they had a decent exercise room. And then when I tried to go again, nothing was working. So it's been years since I've tried to go again. So has the equipment been updated?
So you have not been there in years?
It's been years now because I joined Planet Fitness when I came there and saw that they just had weights. The
Okay.
treadmill was gone, the elliptical was gone, the weight machines weren't working.
So all of that is there.
Okay.
In fact, Briggs & Sal's have been slated to have all new equipment. We are hoping that we get it by the spring.
Great, thank you.
They've been telling us that since last year, but we hope to get it by spring.
Tish, do you have a question?
Yes, I'm sorry. I did. I saw question in the chat in regards to the T-ball, and people would like to see, it looks like people would like to volunteer. Is there any information on people coming to the rec and volunteering?
Oh, we love volunteers. What you have to do is go online and fill out the certified volunteer application. And then you will go through the series of background check. But we love having volunteers, so that would be great. I do want to let you know that the request for the adult kickball backed by popular demand. So those lights will be on only for one night, and that's when they have the games. And the lights will be on. I asked until at least trying to get them off by 9:30. They usually go till 10 o'clock. But at the request of some of the community, the lights were on. And we apologize that the lights were staying on. See, I'm not there that late. So when I heard that the lights were staying on till after 10, immediately got that taken care of. So they're no longer staying on that late. Any other questions?
I just got one. Are
Okay.
the police still over there? Mr. Settles, I know when we had the public safety meeting, there were two armed SPO officers, I guess. Are they still on
Yes,
site?
they are.
Perfect.
They're still
How
on
long are they
site.
slated? How long are they slated to be there?
I don't have the time that they're going to leave, but they're there the full 8 hours that we're there.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
And they have also been engaging with the patrons, and I like seeing that as well. They're getting to know the community is getting to know them. So they're there, and they have not given us how long. We're also having, if anybody's interested, we were having the trauma counseling sessions. If someone is interested, please let us know.
Okay. Thank you.
There's more
Is there-
hands and more questions.
Okay.
For Ms. Settles, okay, go ahead.
Yes.
Lydia Martin.
Hey, Barbara, I had a question too. My hand was up as well.
Okay, Rodney, please do not unmute yourself. I'm going to get to you. Miss Lydia Martin, you have a question?
Just one question, the hours of the rec center.
Hours of the rec center is 12 to 8, Monday through Friday, and 9 to 1 on Saturdays. And I think that will be changing in the spring as well.
Thank you.
They haven't given us a date, but the hours will be, I think, 9 to 5. Go back 9 to 5 on Saturdays.
Okay, thank you.
Rodney, is your hand still raised?
Yes, my hand is still raised. Cheryl, how are you doing?
I am doing well. Thank you, Rodney. How are you?
I'm fine. Listen, I know there's been a lot of talk about the building, but some of us who have been here for a long time and actually advocated for that rec center are just as concerned about you and your staff. Can you share with us how your staff is doing given the events of the last several weeks and even several months in and around the rec center? How are you guys faring? And what can we do to kind of make sure that you and your staff are whole and know that the community is surrounding you?
Well, I tell you, I must admit, and I'm very grateful that the community has really wrapped their arms around us. So, we're taking it day by day. We have been having the trauma counseling. And, every time the two boys that were injured, their father's in the choir with me at the grandfather. It's in the choir at church with us. And so, every time I look at him, I'm thinking about the boys, and he said that they're doing well. But again, we are having our trauma counseling. We have like 7 sessions, and the community just have been great, really. The Civic Association, ANC, you all have been just wonderful, and we do appreciate it. A couple of our young ladies who were there actually with me during the incident, they're kind of having a tough time. They're a little jumpy. So, which is to be expected, but they want to stay at the center. They've been given the option to transfer if they like, and they want to stay at Riggs LaSalle. So
That's good. I knew a lot of them personally, as you know, and I came in the day or so after I heard that this had happened and kind of hugged some of your staff. I made the offer to help them any way that I can, and that offer still stands. So just tell them that we love them and we appreciate all they do for this community.
thank you so much, and we appreciate you all as well. Again, thanks.
I will piggyback on what Rodney said, is that go by there and check on them. To just check on them to see how they're doing. They have been, I think one of them had been with the rec for a very long time, but doesn't matter how long they've been there, they all do a wonderful job. So go by the rec and just check on them and see how they're doing. All right, any other questions for Ms. Settles?
2 more questions in the chat.
Okay.
And so one person said, once someone is background checked for volunteering, what then? And then the second question was pretty much around Double Dutch has become quite popular. Is there a possibility of having Double Dutch at the rec?
There is a possibility. If there's a request for it, we can put it in. In fact, we can put it in for spring. I still have a little time to add it into spring. The problem is we got to make sure that people come, because if there is low enrollment, the program will be dropped.
Thank you.
So we love to have that. We have a new manager for all girls sports. So that's something that I think that we could get in. Not that Double Dutch is just for girls, but I'm just saying, I think we have someone we can put our hands on to say, this is what we want here. So if you're interested in that, and it's more than just 1 or 2, then I can put that in as a program.
Okay, and while you're on, Ms. Settles, are there any more hands raised, Tish or Angie?
Oh, I do want to mention a couple of things. So there are 2 things that we're waiting to be repaired. That's the door, the entrance door from the parking lot. We have the chain on it. They came and took it. We've been having problems with that for a very long time. So they came and measured. I don't know if they're just going to replace the whole door or just a piece that's broken, but they have come out. I don't have an ETA when that will, finish. So we're waiting on that. Also, our basketball rim as well has been, because I'm sorry.
Somebody's talking. Who is?
It's John Stokes. I'm back and forth. I am back again. I'm doing double duty here. So hey, Shalita, how are you?
Hey, how you doing, John? I was just talking about the door. They did come out and assess the door. I don't have an ETA when they're going to repair it, though.
So the parts for the door have been ordered, and we're just waiting for them to come in. We will keep you updated, but we know about that door, and you're right. Somebody did come out and assess. The parts have been ordered. We just have to wait for the parts to come in.
Okay. Do you have any information about, I keep saying ETA, but it's ETC, when it will be completed? The basketball rim in the gym.
They are coming out on Thursday to check that on Thursday.
Thank you.
Yep.
See how we're all on this meeting and getting things done, supporting one another. Mr. Stokes, you did put something in the chat. Did you want to just mention that?
Sure. So again, I'm doing double duty here, but I wanted to respond quickly. So I did reach out to our PSD, our Protective Services Division, and found out that all cameras are electronically checked every day to ensure they are functioning. And if a camera is not functioning, the contractor will send a service technician immediately. And currently, all 30+ cameras at Riggs LaSalle are functioning properly at this time.
And they have been coming out every week. They've been coming
Well,
every
good.
week to check it. Yeah.
Great,
Because when the incident occurred, they weren't, I was told that some of them were not working.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, some of them, we
So
put that
that's
work
been
order in.
updated.
Yeah, that was weeks and weeks and weeks ago.
I understand now that it's done every day, then you can assure that the cameras will be working. That if in fact this happens again, there should not be a breakdown. From what you're saying.
And
Got
DC,
it. Got it.
just one other thing is that, and DGS, so we do not control or monitor cameras not connected to the facility. So I think there was a question about cameras in an alley or someplace off the property, but we don't control nor monitor the cameras not connected to the facility.
It was my understanding, if you guys don't mind, from the public safety meeting, that those that are off the facility were being monitored by a off-site venue, I think on New York Avenue somewhere.
So that's our cameras. For the cameras that are on property or at the facility. It's the central command. It's sort of a central command for where our cameras are monitored. So that's where that goes. But that's not the other cameras that are like in alleys or things along those lines. Those were just the command center for. Now, there may be an MPD or something command center as well, but where DGS, our kind of command or control center, is at that 64 New York Avenue.
Thank you for that.
I think the main concern was that when the incident occurred, when the stabbing occurred and the murder, the cameras, were they working then? Because it was at the step, and whether they were working when the other shooting occurred at the wreck, not on the street.
Yeah.
Thank
Just
you.
for clarification, I know he collapsed at the wreck, but the stabbing didn't happen there.
Okay, but still footage would have been at the wreck. My concern is footage working. Got it. Is footage working? Are the MPD cameras working? Are the ring cameras in the community working? You know? All right, thanks.
Hey, Mr. Stokes, are those cameras?
No. Rodney, you need to be recognized, and this is the third time I've asked you to do that.
I'm sorry, Barbara, but I also saw that other people were allowed to speak. Let's be fair.
No.
Other people were allowed to speak, Barbara. Everyone heard them. You gotta be fair.
Before we mute you, Rodney, I'm asking you nicely to please wait to be recognized.
Ask everybody else who spoke out of turn.
No one else spoke out of turn. So if you have a question, you can get a question. You can ask your question. But what you're not going to do is just keep interjecting. And we've asked you nicely not to do that. And so the next time we will have to mute you, and then the next one will be to remove you from this meeting. We've had this conversation offline, Rodney. Okay? I've gotten calls from people that this was on your agenda to do, but you will not do it. I told you that.
Barbara, you got to be fair. Other people broke in.
We have.
People heard
you're
that.
Right. LaRoya broke in. Herself.
Other people broke in.
Yeah, well,
fair,
do
Barbara.
you have a question? Do you have a question, Rodney?
I do, Mr. Stokes. Are those cameras that are off-site, are they monitored in real time?
They're monitored, so they're checked every morning.
All right, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from for Mr. Stokes or for Ms. Settles? All right, thank you all so much, Mr. Stokes. Thank you so much for coming back on to the meeting and giving us an update.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Bye-bye.
Sure. Miss Ruth, oh wait, is Miss Ruth Boyd hand up?
Yes, it is.
Yes, ma'am.
My question is that I don't know who this may should be addressed to, but my question is the safety of the way cars are driven when they turn illegal left turn onto 100 of Takaman Street Northeast. I have said this several times. Within the last 3 weeks, every morning that I'm turning around to go to work, I almost get hit. Even though there is a sign there, is there a way to block it such a way that you can come up the street, make a turn onto the right turn onto Eastern Avenue, or you can come from Eastern Avenue from like the opposite direction and turn into Takaman Street? Because whenever they are coming up from Maryland, Takaman Street, off where they from where the auto zone is, coming up, they always make an illegal left turn into the street. I've said this several times, and I don't want to be the victim of getting hit before something can be done about it.
Sure. Ms.
I've said
Boyd,
it
do
several
you
times.
know who your ANC, is someone speaking? Ms. Boyd, do you know who your ANC commissioner is?
I don't know if it's Laurie or Mr. Washington. I don't know. They all live on the same block
Barbara,
too.
it should be me.
And I know they are aware
It's
of it.
you?
I think it's
Okay.
me because you're between New Hampshire and Kansas Avenue, correct?
Yes, I
Ma'am.
am.
Right. So if you could reach out to me, we can plan a walk. There's 3 areas in that corridor, my new SMD, that need attention. And so I will add that. My meeting is the 18th of February. But if you could reach out to me at 202-704-2427. I'll be back in town. I'm almost in the DC now. And we can have a discussion after this meeting. Thank you very much.
And can you please give
Ms. Boyd, can you repeat that?
Can you please give me the last 4 digits of the
2427. 2427. Did she get it?
All righty. And LaRoya, of course, you can connect with me and let me know if it's
Of
anything
course.
I can do, but I know you're on top of it.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate your help.
Okay. Let's see. So, let's go to Edwin Washington. He is the Executive Director of the Parks Main Street.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, President Rogers. Just a few things, and yes, that is that Tuckerman Street area, that turn off the left off of Eastern Avenue, Ms. Boyd. Yes, I also am with you on that. For years, that's been happening, and hoping that there can be some changes made as we move forward with Commissioner Huff's assistance. A few things here. One, the Parks Main Street Small Business Grants, we just let those out last week. We will be giving up to $5,000 to probably about 4 businesses. The applications are coming in. The application deadline, these are for small brick and mortar businesses in Riggs Park and in Manor Park. And the deadline is this Friday, the 10th at 9 p.m. Our newsletter has changed from bi-monthly to quarterly. We just sent out winter newsletter, just went out, I think 2 weeks ago. For Black History Month, we are highlighting the WOK TV station and Tina-Rama Dance Party. And some of you may know that if you've seen the Riggs Park, We Are Riggs Park mural on the side of Riggs Wine and Liquor, the I has the 3 towers, and it also mentions, it also says Whoop. So our newsletter, if anyone wants to get a copy of it who hasn't, I'll be happy to get that to you. I will be testifying as the Parks Main Street at the performance hearing coming up this Wednesday. Councilmember Kenya McDuffie, who's chair of the Committee on Business and Economic Development. This is performance as it relates to the Department of Small Local Business Development, of where we get a good bit of our funding from. And lastly, we will be having our annual meeting. We'll be at the Lamond-Riggs Library, March 16th from 6:30 to 8. That will be open to the public. And that's what I have to share right now. If there are any questions, I'm happy to field them.
Any questions for Edwin Washington? Okay, you're getting off easy today,
I
Edwin.
thought I'd get a few questions on a few businesses, but thank you.
Sure. So again, I just want to say, I do recognize that LaRoya did just unmute herself and speak. So we just want to say to people, do not unmute yourself. Please be recognized so that we can run an orderly meeting. We're going to move on now. We have a presentation by our development task force. Are we ready, Mr. Oliver and Deborah Grinstead?
Give us a minute.
Okay, so just to tell you all a little bit about what they are going to show us, there's the grassy area that sits in front of Food and Friends. And for years, it had been requested by the community to keep that as green space. And so the development task force they did a survey, put a survey out of what the community might want to see in that space. And the developers, EYA, took the results of that survey and came up with a draft of what could possibly go there. And so Mr. Oliver and Deborah Grimstead, who are co-chairs of the LRCA's Development Task Force, will do a presentation on that space. We do want to thank all of those who took the time to do the survey. Your input is valuable, and we appreciate it. So just wanted to say that. Are we ready, Deborah and Mr. Oliver?
I believe so. Is it up on the screen now? It's on mine, but I don't know if it's on everyone else's.
We're looking at your file.
I can see it.
Okay, good. Fantastic. Yes, I just want to piggyback on what President Rogers has said. Basically, this is the document that we submitted on September the 24th, I believe, and it was called a site experience event. What we did was we went to the area.
I will unmute myself. Sorry. I think we're still looking at like your documents folder.
We're looking at the icons. We're not looking at
the
actual
icons,
flyer.
not the big picture of the flyer.
All right, well, let me back
I
out of
think
that.
you need to double click on it, Mr. Oliver.
All right, let me try that again. Sorry. Is it there now?
Yes.
Yeah, I see it. I see it. It's there. Okay. Basically, the document is it up? I just want to make sure.
Yes, it's
Yes.
up.
Good.
Talk about the map, please. This is Deborah.
Okay. Well, I was actually going to show the map in a second, but I will talk about the map.
There's a map on the flyer because we're already running out of time.
Well, no, we got a little bit more time.
I'll talk about the meeting as a whole.
Okay, I'm sorry. The map on the flyer on the lower right-hand side shows the intersection of Riggs Road and South Dakota Avenue. At the very top of this, across the street from Chick-fil-A, is the area that we are discussing. Basically, what that area is the space of land that was above the ramp that turned in from Riggs Road onto South Dakota Avenue. This was made into a T so that basically development could be done on the opposite side, which was the Riggs Park Place. And on this side, it had remained a grassy area. The portion of it is about 1.5 acres. We are looking at developing that area into a usable parkland for seniors and everyone else in our diverse neighborhood so that they would not have to travel far, at least from the Riggs Park area, to find a grassy area where they can relax, exercise, and do what have you. So this is the first step in a process that we have been working on for several years now, and it is starting to come to fruition. The reason why we're bringing this up is that this particular survey was completed in October, and now it is February. So this is as good a time as any to let everyone know what is going on. And what we are doing is we've gotten the survey results, and the survey results show that people would like a area that has exercise stations, area that you can sit down and walk, and most of all, they wanted green space to offset a lot of all the new construction that has come up, such as the Walmart, all the hotels, I'm sorry, all the apartments within the Walmart, and also the new residents who will be at Riggs Park Place and so forth. So that is where we're going with that. So we are doing basically the will of the community. Our next steps are basically to move forward with talking to council members, both on the Ward 5 side and the Ward 4 side and Ward 5 side, to make sure that we can get some traction and get this particular project going. So let me see if I can get to another picture really quickly, and if not, we'll stay with that one.
In answer to the chat question about resizing the map, then one of the coming slides is a large satellite view of the area we're talking about.
Yes, just give me a second to get to it. This thing is really working well. Give me 1 second. I have to do it again. Okay, can you see it now?
No, we're still looking at the icon list.
Okay, let me go back. I'm sorry about this. I might have to go into my website and pull that up. Let me see. There might be another one. Let's see. And that one's not doing anything either, is it?
It's small. Can you make it bigger?
Can you view 200%?
Not from inside. Well, wait a minute. Let me see. Let me see what I can do here. All right, Deborah, why don't you take over, and I'll go to the file where all these are stored.
So someone might have mentioned that this green space, as we're calling it, is near the Food and Friends facility. We've been communicating with all the various stakeholders involved in bringing this park to fruition, and Food and Friends expects to expand, but they already have ownership of the land that they need in order to expand. So it's not going to affect our desire to have a park in that green space. And Food and Friends has said they're happy that we can have a park in that green space. They're not opposed to that at all.
Okay, can you see the picture now?
No, I just see your name.
Oh boy, oh boy.
I don't see your share screen at all.
Okay, let me bring that up.
So as Robert explained, the northern border is Riggs Road, and the eastern border is South Dakota Avenue. One of the items asked for in the survey results was a dog park. We are happy to inform you, if you didn't already know, that the Cafers Foundation had already agreed to include a dog park in their phase 2. For those of you who may not know, the Cavers Foundation owns a lot of the land in the area between the metro station and South Dakota Avenue and Gallatin and Riggs Road. Their development as a whole is called Art Place at Fort Totten. The first phase of it was, or is, the modern. That's the huge apartment buildings. There's 3 of them that hold 520 units. Phase 2 is the big hole that's in the ground that is on South Dakota Avenue. It's going to include an Aldi grocery store, a food hub, kind of like you have a Union Market, not a restaurant, but a venue with all kinds of different food styles. And it's not expected to be open until 2025. So at the northeast corner of that glob of land is where the dog park is going to be. And it's going to be a public kind of dog park. It's not going to be residents of Art Place only or anything like that. The north side of Kennedy Street is where some of the old Riggs-style Plaza apartment buildings used to be. And that land is for what is supposed to be later phases of Art Place at Fort Totten. Phase 3, phase 4, what have you. Robert, can you go to the rendering, the 3D rendering of Art Place?
Yeah, let me see if I can get that going. Hold on 1 second, sorry. Pictures.
So as Robert had mentioned, a funny thing happened on the way to the park. There used to be highway style driveways that ran between this land. And as being roads, they were owned by DDOT and maintained by DDOT. However, the park portion, all the little triangle parks you have all over DC, those are owned and maintained by DGS. So now that the roadways are gone and been replaced by grass, our park, our green space, has land that's owned by both DGS and by DDOT. So we've been working together with them and the DCOP to DC Department of Planning to have this land transferred to DPR, to Department of Parks and Recreation, in order to have it be a park for us, for the community. Hey, there goes one. We can see the 3D rendering that came from the Cavers Foundation. And if you look at the little blue box surrounded by a orangey kind of border, that's where the Aldi is. And the Aldi is where the dog park is. The dog park is next to the Aldi. And the white building in the lower right corner, that's Food and Friends.
Okay, if we could show the one for the space by Food and Friends, so we could, because I think it's important that they see that one of what is being proposed. I know Mr. Oliver was having some technicals, but we have literally 15 minutes before we adjourn the meeting.
Okay, well, I'll get that one up in a second.
Okay, yeah, if you can just show them that one, and then kind of let them know what next steps are.
Okay.
Our next steps, as far as Robert and I are concerned, we have engaged with our new council member in order to get all the different agencies to the table to discuss what our plans are. Realize that LRCA doesn't own the land, ANC 5A, the SMG that the land is in, doesn't pull money from its budget to have a park. This has to be a DC government enterprise, a DC government initiative. And it turns out that the policy is that DGS manages DPR's park projects and has an extensive standard operating procedure. It involves community engagement, multiple meetings, all the stakeholders. If you remember the process you went through regarding the development of the library, where there were a lot of community meetings where the residents give feedback and what do they want and so on and so forth. That's the kind of process that's going to happen regarding this park. So Robert and I are not able to promise you, oh yes, the park will open on July 4th, 2024. It's going to be determined by these agencies. And that's why we asked you folks to reply to the DPR's Ready to Play survey, because we want to impress upon the leadership of the DC agencies that we want this. We've been working on this for more than 15 years. So let's bring this to fruition.
Okay, Mr. Oliver, do you have the rendering yet?
Okay, I thought I had it up, but obviously you guys don't see it. So we'll probably have to go forward without it. Sorry about that.
We see the triangle. I'm sorry, I
Oh, you
butted
see it.
into
Okay,
it.
good. All right, well then
Tisha?
I will go over the triangle really quickly. Let me back down the size a little bit.
Bigger is better.
Bigger is better.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, what we're seeing here at the very top going up, that is Riggs Road. Coming down is South Dakota Avenue. So you can see the triangle, which is basically encompasses pretty much what the old ramp used to be, the old road section. And if you look at the trees, in between the trees, you can actually see the old road or the old ramp. And that's what actually went. So on the bottom half is Food and Friends. That's that facility. And they own that land. But on the top half, this is the park that we're talking about. And as I've said, it's across the street from Chick-fil-A. On the South Dakota Avenue side, is across the street from the Riggs Park Place. It is 1.5 acres in size, which qualifies it as a small park as far as the Department of Parks and Recreation is concerned. So what we're doing, because of all the construction that has happened over the years, is trying to hold on to some green space for our residents. And as Deborah has said earlier, we are working with the city government and city agencies to ensure that we can put something out there that is both recreational and fun. And kind of what we're looking at is to have some type of track with exercise circuits, but also benches for people to rest, relax, and have a casual lunch. Green space for people to sit on the grass and enjoy themselves. Some native flowers, which will be pollinators to attract bees. And so that's the type of thing that we are trying to do. And this is all based upon the survey results that we had gotten earlier this year, which have been on the Lamond-Riggs Civic Association website, I believe, since October. So,
Barbara, excuse me, Robert, Barbara, do you want me to address Rodney's question in the chat out loud? Or do we need to move on?
Are you going to show what was proposed by EYA?
No.
Oh, we're not. Okay.
No.
Okay. Well, yeah, we will take the one question and then we'll have to move the agenda because we have Sophie on from the mayor's office and she's going to give us a quick update. Do you have an answer to the question?
Yes.
Deborah?
Yes.
Okay. You can.
I live in Ward 5 and so does Rodney. Sorry, so does Robert. The boundaries of LRCA go all the way down to Gallatin. I live at the Modern and it is north of Gallatin.
I'm sorry, does his question have to do with this project?
No.
Okay, yeah.
It's a administrative, bureaucratic kind of question.
Okay, no, we don't need to address that. You all are within the boundaries, you're doing good work and that's what is important. So thank you. Anything else you all want to add before we move to Sophie? We will, let me ask this question to Robert and Deborah. The proposed rendering that EYA did, we will be sharing that hopefully at
Down the
some point
road.
to
Down
the
the road.
community. Okay,
Yes, down the
great,
road.
great, great. Okay,
Yeah, let me
you all
say,
are gonna love it. I was blown away by it when I saw it. So hopefully we'll be able to share that really soon.
Yeah, and it'll need
But
more than 5 minutes.
Deborah and Robert, thank you all so much for the great work that you do for this community and LRCA. All right.
Okay.
thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we're going to bring up Sophie. Thank you so much, Sophia, for staying on. She is the new Ward 4 MOCA, and she's everywhere doing a great job. Sophia, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, and thank you everybody for having me on today. For those of you who don't know what a MOCR is, MOCR stands for your Mayor's Office of Community Relations and Services. Usually there are 2 of us, and many of you do know Yamala Escobar. However, she's now working with our youth and is no longer a MOCR. So until I get a partner, I am the only MOCR for all of Ward 4. So I know that it is brief because we're about to head out. So some of the most important things to share with everybody is our budget engagement forum. And our budget engagement forum truly sets the precedent of where the money is going to go and how are we going to work to develop the DC that we all love already and want to grow with. So there are 3 budgets in total, and there is 1 tele budget. And so the tele town hall is specifically and only for seniors. I repeat, this is only for seniors. And the reason for this is for equity. And so a lot of our seniors might not have the resources to travel far, and we want to make it more accessible for them. So I will start with our teletown hall. That will be on Wednesday, February 8th at noon. To participate, make sure to write this down. I can also email this as well. But to participate, you can either watch on the DCN channel 16 or budgetdc.gov. Another way to participate is by calling in at 844-881-1314. That's 844-881-1314. And this is a wonderful way to talk to the mayor over the phone and truly let everybody know what your budget needs are for. And so I definitely recommend that for all of our seniors. As for everybody else, there are 2 locations where you can in person go to your budget engagement forum. The first one will be Thursday, February 9th at 6 p.m. and that will be at the Jackson Reed High School. The address for that is 3950 Chesapeake Street Northwest. And that is Thursday, February 9th at 6 p.m. Our second one is Saturday, February 11th at 11 a.m. at Eastern High School. The address for that is 1700 East Capitol Street Northeast, and that is at Saturday, February 11th at 11 a.m. And so before I say anything else, I do really want to encourage everybody to bring your friends out, bring your family out. This is a wonderful opportunity for everyone, and there will be food and drinks there. So anyway.
Do you have any questions for Sophia? Thank you so much, Sophia, for spending a long time. I don't think, I hope I didn't miss you earlier. And if I did, I apologize. Any questions for Sophia? I do see that Reverend May's hand is up. Any other questions for Sophia? Reverend Mays? Any other questions? Thank you so much, Sophia.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thanks again. I guess Reverend Mays will come through when she's able to unmute herself.
Hello?
Yes, Reverend Mays, we can hear you now.
I was saying I didn't have a problem for Sophia. My hand has been up ever since Robert was on there. That's why I had my hand up. I wanted to ask about that park.
Okay, they're still on. What's your question?
My question is, why is it necessary to have anything there other than flowers and green space? And then he made a mention of something for seniors. That corner is dangerous to cross. So why would you want seniors to cross up there to go to a park or something for recreation?
This is Deborah. You always have the option of not going to that space and using any of the amenities there. Also, as a part of background, the need for a park came out of the comprehensive plan development process that the DC Office of Planning goes through. And it started with a small area plan that was initiated by the LRCA back in 2009. So the planning professionals identified that area as being ideal for a community park, and relative to where else in the neighborhood there is not a community park, their recommendation and their directive to DPR was to make it so.
Also, to add to what has been said, we wanted to make sure that this green space was open and welcoming to everybody. So we just didn't want to have it for children and young people, but also have something for seniors too. There are some heritage trees, several heritage trees there, very old trees, and it would make great spots for shade. And as you've mentioned, there will be areas in which there will be native flowers and plants where for a senior or someone else, maybe just reading the newspaper and having lunch would be ideal.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? If not, we're at 8:42. According to the LRCA bylaws, we have to introduce a nominating committee. As you all know, that this is an election year. There will be an election in May. Details of how the voting will work will be forthcoming. But the executive board met, and Heather Rogers is actually going to chair the nominating committee. This has to be a person who is not seeking re-election. And so Heather Rogers is actually going to be the nominating committee chair. Heather, do you want to say something?
I do. Thanks, Barbara. So we are actually still looking for one more person for the committee. So if somebody is interested in joining, you can shoot me an email or Barbara an email, and we look forward to having people on the committee. Looking forward to it. I'm very sorry that this will be my one and hopefully not only, but maybe until my daughter is older than 2 term on the board. So excited to be able
We understand.
to keep moving.
We understand.
Yeah, if we want somebody else if somebody else is interested, we could use one more person, so that would be great.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So we just have a couple of more updates. We're going to let people go. I know that Miss Barbara Carter, she actually just put in the chat the 75th anniversary. LRCA will be 75 years. We are so excited to be able to share this event with LRCA members. Miss Barbara, did you want to say anything? And then I think Tisha wanted an update about the bylaws, because that is something else that we've been working on for a while. Miss Barbara Carter.
Good evening, everybody. Real quick, the 75th anniversary is in fact being planned for Saturday, April 22nd at the Riggs LaSalle Recreation Center. We expect to have a great time celebrating this magnificent milestone. You all should be proud of yourselves for all the work you've done over 3/4 of a century. I have placed in the chat a flyer that you can download and send out to your friends and family and businesses who may want to make a donation or place an ad in the journal, which will help to offset the cost of the event. And the flyer has the link to the information that is on the website. Stay tuned and don't forget to download the flyer in the chat.
Okay, great.
Is that quick enough?
That was quick. Thank you, because it's 8:45. I don't want to hold people any longer. If you have additional questions, Tish, did you have something about the bylaws? Because she has to do a presentation, I think, at the next meeting.
Yes, so thank you, President Rogers. We are at the last stretch, final stretch. We have met with attorneys. I'm still trying to get a date for an attorney to attend one of our meetings, but we will have our bylaws committee meeting to review our proposed changes to the bylaws with the executive board on February 16th. I believe that's coming up next week. And then after that, we'll be sending or talking about it in the next meeting. And I think we'll be ready to vote sometime the end of March. We'll have a special meeting, details to follow.
Okay, thank you. It is now 8:46. Again, if you have any more questions, you all can always, my number has been the same since I was president 10 years ago. And that is 202-904-1027. You can give me a call with any questions. I want to be respectful of everybody's time. Everybody have a wonderful evening. And thanks again for joining us. Good night.